Do you struggle trying to balance your work and your personal life? Are you searching for your self-worth? You are not alone. The book from author Arnab Dasgupta, Stumbling Blocks, Roadmaps to Overcoming the Challenges in Today's Work Culture and Life in General, available on Amazon, is the help you've been looking for. The 1950s dad working 9-to-5 life is over. In today's world, the idea of both mom and dad having their own careers, raising a family in between, and dealing with the pressures of social media and societal change is a balancing act that our parents and grandparents could never have imagined. Stumbling Blocks addresses a new type of work ethic, WeWorking. WeWorking is a work environment without middle management, with teams brought together with companies developing tiny, autonomous, high-performing teams that will form, converge, act, and disband when a task changes. The new work environment is expected to be in place by 2030. Are you prepared? You will be with this must-read book. Order your copy of Stumbling Blocks from author Arnab Dasgupta, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and this is a special edition of the Brian Craig Show podcast. This is the 1,300th episode of the Brian Craig Show podcast.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Isn't that something? 1,300 episodes.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Yeah,
Just like our marriage.
I know, yeah. Well, I don't know, but that's absolutely amazing. And I want to thank everyone out there. And a lot of you have been with us since episode 1.
That's true.
And if you have,
It's been 10 years.
you've listened to 1,300 episodes. It's actually a few more than that because I've misnumbered some a couple times. So, but this is officially the 1,300th episode of the Brian Craig Show podcast.
Amazing.
So thank you, everyone, for all of your support. It's absolutely
come a long way, baby.
Yeah.
I wanted to play this thing, this horrible tragedy in Illinois that happened on 4th of July. That everybody's talking about. And Kamala, of course, has to come out and do the rounds and say her stupid thing. And she was ripped online by Democrats for this. This is in the New York Post. So I'm going to play this right now.
You got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously. The whole nation should understand and have a level of empathy to understand that this can happen anywhere, in any peace-loving community, and we should stand together and speak out about why it's got to stop.
Madam Vice President?
Okay. She's got a tick. She repeats words, if you notice, when she speaks, and her cackling, she has a lot of weird ticks. And she said at the beginning, she said the word seriously 3 times in a row.
I think it was 5.
Yeah.
In the course of the whole thing. 5.
She's the most uninspired, stupid woman in politics I've ever seen. Nobody likes her. And I said to you the other day, I said, I've noticed Kamala, or as Greg Kelly calls her, Kamala.
That's how she says you pronounce her name, Kamala. I call her Kamala.
Anyway, tomato. I've said to you, I've noticed she has been out more lately. She was kind of in hiding for a while. And I said, I've noticed she's been out more lately, giving speeches, and she's not cackling anymore. I think she has been coached and has been taking like elocution lessons like they used to give the movie stars at MGM, like in Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
They've been trying to teach her to calm down her tics of the laughing, but she still has this tick of constantly repeating a word. And I think she does it when she's nervous. I think it kicks in. But Kamala's not going to lead anything. She couldn't lead a conga line. They think that she is the future of the party. They're kidding themselves. I would love them to run her. I don't know what their plan is, whether Joe Biden's going to resign or they're going to do the 25th or just wait till he's done and have her run. But I keep hearing her with Pete Buttigieg.
Well, she's
horrible.
So she's doing like this My Fair Lady, the rain in Spain is mainly on the plane.
She's Eliza Doolittle, but not as cool.
And, here's the thing about that.
Exactly.
Okay? Kamala Harris, and I really think someone should look into her law school and her bar examination, because it's hard for me to believe that someone who is
displaying such low intelligence could actually pass the bar exam. It's absolutely, I don't know. I was wondering if maybe Willie Brown was grading the bar exams or something.
I don't know if Kim Kardashian can pass it. It seems like anybody can.
Did she pass it?
I think so.
I don't know if Kim Kardashian passed hers.
Me.
Did she actually pass it?
That's what Emily told me.
Well, I don't know. If Kim Kardashian,
it can't be that hard.
I would say Kim Kardashian's probably a little bit smarter than
True.
Kamala Harris. But the thing with Kamala Harris, she has done what she's done to get where she is right now. You guys can speculate
we all know that.
on what Willie Brown's girlfriend is. And there's only one more step for her to go in. And I'm not so sure she wants to be the president. I think it scares her as it would scare any normal person because she gets that presidential daily briefing. We don't even want to know what's in that briefing. You really don't. It's got to be frightening. And you got the weight of everything. And the country is in such a wreck right now. Does she really want to be president and take over from this disaster that Joe left behind? But there is a possibility.
As crazy as it seems, though, she would be worse than Joe Biden.
Maybe.
If you can imagine.
Maybe.
So.
But
I'm telling you.
There is a
horrible.
possibility, though. There is a possibility. Because the Obama people, who we know have a lot of pull and control over the Biden administration, the Obama people are already setting the stage.
They are.
For Biden to step aside or announce he's not running. Jay Johnson, who was Obama's Homeland Security Secretary, was talking about Biden needs to come public with a decision here. So it very well may be Biden's – I know this sounds a little strange, but Biden's a weird dude. Joe Biden may resign on his own through encouragement because he's checked out so that he could be responsible and take credit for the first female president of the United States.
I can see that happening. That's how they'd spin it for sure.
Yeah, and that, he put this woman on the court, but this would be the big deal if you made the first woman and a minority women on top of that as the first president of the United States.
So she didn't make it on her own. She needed a white man to make it happen for her.
Well, men have gotten her everywhere she is.
No, but I'm saying if he resigned for her to become the first female black president or first female president. That's happening not on any merits of her own, but because a white man made it happen. I mean, see how big
but
that is?
She wouldn't
of course not.
Spin it that way.
But I could see him doing that. Clearly, we all saw this as a complete disaster. We knew what a train wreck this whole administration was going to be. I don't know how Democrats couldn't see this from a mile away when he was campaigning from the basement and the circles and oh my gosh, and the fumbling of the words. I mean, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to see the writing on the wall. But, I guess people are finally waking up. Clearly, they do not want him running again. He has said that he will, but they will strongly work to change his mind.
Yeah.
And I think they're grooming her and coaching her because she was gone for a while and now she's back. And I've noticed her cackling tick. I have not seen it. She still has the repeating tick. She's still very uninspiring, annoying, just stupid. This woman will never be a leader. She doesn't have what it takes. She just doesn't have it. She's not intelligent, but they're really working with her and they're really I don't know why they think she and Buttigieg have a chance in hell.
Because
please run them.
Because they live in a bubble of stupidity.
Clearly.
Here you've got Buttigieg has multiple crises. The Secretary of Transportation is a filler position that they give people because they helped whoever the president is get elected, and they give them that job, and they don't have much to do. There have been multiple crises under that department, right? The supply chain.
Yes.
The
gas.
Cargo ships, the gas is part of it, and also this airline crisis that's going on. And, there's an age limit. I was not aware of this. 65 is mandatory retirement for airline pilots. And Buttigieg was asked this week, well, could you raise that requirement? It would give some relief to the airlines. He says, no, that's too old. But Biden is like 15 years older,
Oh my gosh.
So he's just...
did he realize what he said?
I don't think he did.
So you have Biden who's 75 running the country, but a pilot can't be 66 and fly a plane.
Yeah, well, and Biden's checked out.
Did anybody call him on saying that?
No, I'm calling him on it.
Okay.
Right now. I'm calling him on it.
You're good on calling.
All right, now, I want to talk a little bit about Kari Lake. I was just watching Kari Lake, coincidentally, right before the podcast was on Newsmax, and she has a new television ad that's running in Arizona. I'm going to play you the audio from the ad in just a minute. But Kari Lake, she is spectacular. And I would say if she's as good as I think she's going to be, because she's right on every issue that she talks about, she's going to be equally as important to Arizona as Ron DeSantis has been to Florida. You know, Ron DeSantis got us through COVID, and she has this new television ad that is called Invasion, and it's about the invasion going on at the southern border into Arizona. And this is not an exaggeration. The largest invasion of the homeland of the United States is taking place right now as we speak at the southern border, and Arizona is right there on the front line. So she has this new TV ad. Let me play the audio, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. I think it's absolutely amazing. This is the new Kari Lake TV spot.
Arizona is under attack. I'm Kari Lake. As governor, I will issue a declaration of invasion, finish President Trump's wall, blow up the cartel's drug tunnels and surveillance drones, and deploy the Arizona National Guard to stop illegals from entering. Arizona is our home, and I will do everything in my power to defend our families.
Endorsed by President Trump, Kari Lake for governor.
Okay. Now, I saw someone on one of the news shows yesterday giving some analysis of what is going on in the southern border. I thought what they said was pretty interesting because, you know, the number of people coming across, there's all this speculation on why it's happening. And, you know, you hear a lot, not just about the illegal people, but the illegal drugs. And they have been apprehending just huge amounts, tons and tons of, you know, the illegal prescription drugs, I think, at the southern border. And this one guy that's a southern border expert, he's a Border Patrol guy, he was talking about this, and he said that the people are just a distraction for the cartels to get the drugs into the United States, that the Border Patrol and all of our border security are so consumed with the people that the drugs are getting through. And that's what the whole thing is about from the cartel viewpoint. It's not so much about human smuggling. It's just a distraction operation.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true. The money is in the drugs more probably than the people.
Sure, you put your resources all on this one thing. Well, they can't. They don't have the resources for the other.
Well, the people are there and they need help. And I was watching some live footage from the southern border today from
it's a mess
on the
down
news.
there.
And the people that are coming across the border, you know, I notice a lot of things about they're young. They do not look malnourished. They don't, you know, I just went out and got the mail here in Florida, and it's the heat of the summer. They're out in the desert, and I barely made it back into the house from the mailbox. It's so hot outside. These people are supposedly going thousands of miles across the desert.
Do you know how quickly you get dehydrated? You need to drink like every 30 minutes.
They
walking in that kind of
They just
terrain.
don't look like they're traveling through the conditions. I know they're moving, but it looks like they're traveling by vehicle, not by foot, as you'd be led to believe. But Kari Lake said that the governor of Arizona, this is what she was talking about on Newsmax, has some type of War Power Act powers to them. Maybe it's some special thing they have there because it's a border state. And she has the ability as governor to do all kinds of things to protect the southern border with Arizona's southern border, even if the federal government doesn't step in. And, you know, a lot of people, they don't really understand the country too much. And there's a lot of people here that are new or first or second generation. They say, you know, Arizona, that's like the wild, wild west out there. Arizona, Texas, Nevada. And those areas are huge. There's just huge areas that don't have people in them where people are pouring over. And if you're in Arizona this is the largest invasion ever of the United States ever. And
Texas yesterday declared it an invasion. They declared officially an invasion of the country.
And if you notice, we got Texas and Arizona now talking about invasion, and it shows that the MAGA Republicans have this united theme now. This is kind of like the build the wall of this time, you know, this invasion thing, and that's exactly what's going on. And, you know, if you're in Arizona, you're completely living in terror. You've got people just walking across. They're walking through your towns. They're bringing drugs and you know, who knows what else.
Drugs to me are the biggest issue. I don't like all these illegals coming here. Obviously, they're flooding the system. They're straining the system. They're getting free everything. Look, Gavin Newsom is giving them so much free stuff. He's lost so many residents because the taxes are crazy to pay for all this free stuff for the illegals. He's begging people to come back to California. They said on the news the other day, in the last 3 years, since COVID, they've lost 60,000 residents in California to Florida. They had a congresswoman on the local news or on Fox or somewhere saying that. They've lost 60,000 people, all wealthy people, moved just to Florida, not to mention the people that have moved to Texas and other places. So they've lost hundreds of thousands of residents. And these are probably people living in Southern California, not in the northern part. But California, Newsom is awful, and they're so heavily taxed. And the biggest burden they have are these illegals, and you're seeing it there. You're seeing it in Arizona, I'm sure, not as much in Texas, because they at least have the government that's trying to stop all this. But it is an invasion. But the drugs are a big concern to me.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything, because they're bringing so many drugs, this fentanyl. And I've had fentanyl in the hospital. They give it to you when you have a procedure.
By prescription in the hospital.
By prescription. The doctor gives it to you when you have a procedure to sedate you. It's good stuff. I mean, it puts you in the twilight and you don't care about anything. You're like, woo. But it is strong stuff. And when I get it, because I have a lung disease, they give me like a milligram at a time, and I get like no more than 2. My doctors always tell me this is extremely strong. And because you have a lung disease, we have to be very, very careful because it can sedate you. But these kids are taking these pills. I don't know what the dosage is on the. I mean, I get like 1 milligram. I don't know how much these pills are. They're laced with other things. We're really doing so bad by our children. And then I've been reading articles now, all these studies about marijuana and how people are shocked that have legalized it, how much the kids are using it.
Well, of course.
And they're like, at first it was occasional, but now it's becoming an everyday thing where they're stoned all the time. Well, are these people this stupid? What the hell did they expect?
If you look at
they're really destroying our youth.
If you look at everything that's going on, so much of it's tied to the southern border.
Absolutely.
Joe Biden, who I saw a picture of the Biden family on the 4th of July, and I don't know what it is about the Biden family, but why are they always all over each other?
Because they're creeps.
They're really, the whole family are just creepy. But Biden, I mean, think about what he's doing. He's out there talking about how he's this big defender of women over this Roe v. Wade overturning by Trump. But look at what he's done, right? The drug trade is back. He's brought back major drug trafficking that President Trump had pretty much wiped out.
Sex trafficking.
Well, the sex trafficking is a really big one. If you look at what's going on with the sex trafficking, and when I saw these live pictures of the border, I saw a lot of young women that are like late teens, early 20s. They were not with men, and what they're being brought up here for. They're being brought up here to be, prostitutes and sex slaves. And these terrible things that Biden has brought back is really disgusting. And the media aren't reporting on it and focusing in on it beyond a mention here and there.
Why do you think they're letting him get away with this? Why are they because they're reporting his bad approval numbers. His approval number is 36 now. They're reporting this. They have people on the news saying he needs to go away. He's a problem. He's destroying the party. Democrats are saying this. But why are they protecting him from all these problems? What I think it is? They don't want to make Trump look right. They don't want to make Trump look like he was right and have him an I told you so moment, even though we all know he was and what's happening. But you're right. Look at all the negative things Biden has brought into this country, and I don't understand how Democrats can defend him.
It's not just things he's bringing into the country.
And allowing.
President Trump had solved this as best anybody ever would. The drug trafficking, the sex trafficking, all of that. All these terrible addictions and vices that destroy people's lives that President Trump rid our society of. Biden is bringing back like nobody's business. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Brian Craig here with a huge announcement from the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the MyPillow, Mike Lindell. And MyPillow are now offering a BOGO extravaganza on multiple MyPillow items. Right now at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane at checkout. Buy one, get free pricing on MyPillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance MyPillows, the 6-piece MyPillow towel set, and the MyPillow Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows, and so much more. Just go go to mypillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. Use the promo code KANE, KANE, at checkout or call toll-free 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. The air we breathe matters so much. To combat all the allergens, bacteria, and viruses in the air, you need an air purifier that gets the job done. Breathing cleaner air starts with the Oxygen Air Purifier. This purifier does it all. It can greatly reduce mold, pollen, smoke, odor, allergens, and a lot more. Built with style and function in mind, the Oxygen Air Purifier looks good in any space and gets the job done. There are several models available, and they each come with a sensor to let you know the quality level of the air you are breathing. This is the quietest air purifier on the market. With true HEPA filtration, it removes 99.7% of particles from the air. Particles you don't want in your body. Protect yourself and your loved ones with an Oxygen Air Purifier. Visit OxygenUSA.com. That's OxygenUSA.com. Mental health is a big issue today, but unfortunately, most people are scared to express how they feel or what they may be going through. We can all agree, sometimes just letting things out and reflecting helps. That's what author Reese Williams does in the second installment of his self-therapy series, Self-Therapy, Taking Responsibility, available on Amazon. The author's goal is to send a message to people to express their traumas in order to grow and express themselves any way that fits them. Reese hopes that by sharing his experiences, he can motivate readers and inspire others to do the same, which can lead to healing. This is also a perfect book for support groups. Self-Therapy, Taking Responsibility from author Reese Williams is available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. If you're a Christian and looking to do more, be more, and see more in the kingdom of God, there's a book that will help to inspire you and build your faith. If you feel a little lost in your Christian walk or are curious about how you can serve God, the book from author Charles G. Robinette, Radically Apostolic, available on Amazon, will serve as a map for your journey. Experience apostolic equipping and impartation, activate the power of prophetic prayer, and operate in dominion and authority. This must-read book is filled with testimonials of miracles, and it's available in 5 languages. Radically Apostolic from author Charles G. Robinette is available on Amazon. You can also follow the author on social media for more information and fellowship. Order your copy right now. Radically Apostolic from author Charles G. Robinette on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone, to our 1,300th episode of the Brian Craig Show podcast. Absolutely amazing. I'm Brian Craig. Always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So, Kathy, you found this ad for Jerome Davison, who's running for Congress in Arizona.
That's a great ad.
And, you know, there's been a great political transformation among African Americans to Republican. It's really a great awakening of sorts. You know, this ad of his, I'm going to play the ad, and we'll talk about this because it's a very important thing. There's a transformation going on in the African American community it's just happening in huge numbers. It started when President Trump came down the escalator, and it's growing. And it's growing because people that are African American are learning the truth about this country that was hidden from them in the liberal-run public education system and the liberal media all these years. So Jerome Davison, he's running for Congress in Arizona. He was a former NFL player. Mm-hmm. And this is an ad about gun control. And the ad, he titled it, Make Rifles Great Again. That's right, you heard me. Make Rifles Great Again. Listen.
Democrats like to say that no one needs an AR-15 for self-defense, that no one could possibly need all 30 rounds. But when this rifle is the only thing standing between your family and a dozen angry Democrats in Klan hoods, you just might need that semi-automatic and all 30 rounds.
Yeah, and it's a television ad, and I did retweet it. It's on my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter. you want to check that out. By the way, you can find me on Truth, Real Brian Craig on Truth. It's very dramatic. It's a guy with an AR-15 in his home, and a gang of Klansmen are coming up to the home, and there's 30 of them at least, if not more. And that's when he's talking about the high-load ammunition. And this is, Condoleezza Rice used to talk about this. And when Condoleezza Rice talked about this, it never got any play. And I would hear her tell this story all the time about how her father and his friends would defend themselves with their own guns from the Klan when she was growing up. And
so why is she anti-gun?
Condoleezza Rice isn't. She's
Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah, Condoleezza Rice.
Kamala.
And as much as Condoleezza Rice told that story, it never really got much play, and I could tell it was frustrating to her. Mm-hmm. And what's happened is it really happened with the internet and social media is things that the mainstream media would never discuss. Like if Condoleezza Rice gave an interview and told that story, you might see it on Fox News, but it would never make it to CNN. Or if it did, it certainly wouldn't get replayed. And because of social media, the truth about things like this come out. And, the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm very happy that he mentions in this ad that they were Democrats. The Ku Klux Klan was the very first Democrat Party community activist organization. And what their job was to suppress blacks in all kinds of ways. And they led a 100-year reign of domestic terror, the Democrat Klan, against African Americans. And back then, you didn't have 911. And even if you did, the local sheriff was probably the local Klan boss, so he wouldn't come to help you. And families back then, you're isolated, right? You didn't even have telephones, a big chunk of that, and so you're alone. And the only thing that protected them from the Democrat Klan were the guns that they owned at home. And even us, we're gun owners. We have guns at home. We're here in Florida, when we have hurricanes, I always make sure when hurricane season, we're in hurricane season now, I always make sure when hurricane season comes around, we have ammo. And, how much we have is none of your business. How little we have is none of your business. And what guns we own is also none of your business. But I know I do talk about some of the ones I have. But when we have a hurricane and if we get hit by a bad one and we don't have electricity for a couple weeks, you start to see sketchy things going on.
Look at the McCloskeys when they were outside of their mansion.
They saved their house.
And they were standing out there and they got arrested, which is ridiculous. And they were standing out there with their guns. And there was a whole mob of people, probably a couple dozen at least, walking on their property.
That had broken into the community.
Yeah. Now, those people just walked by. And I think because they had those guns out there, they were standing out there knowing, business. And he's the kind of guy who probably would shoot first and ask questions later. So for them to tell you that you don't need multiple rounds when you have gangs like Antifa running around the town terrorizing people, this is the problem the Democrats are having. And by the way, the black community has a long history with guns related to the Klan.
Yep.
It's not just Condoleezza Rice's family that protected themselves. They have a long history. And I remember they had a black guy on CNN talk about that, and they shut up immediately about gun control in that conversation because he said, we have a long history of protecting ourselves against the Klan with the guns, so we have a right to have them. They seem to think black people don't have guns. Remember when Joy Behar said when blacks start owning guns, they'll start cracking down? Mm-hmm. What do they think? Black people can't own guns or don't own guns? They have a long history of owning guns, and they've always enjoyed that American right in the 19th century and the 20th century, when they were allowed to do that sort of stuff, and especially in the 20th century with the Klan, like you said. But you have the McCloskeys here, but they're in a quandary because there's so much crime going on, and they have these Antifa mobs running around destroying people's property and terrorizing people. But then they turn around and tell you don't need to defend yourself. Yeah. You don't need a gun to protect yourself, but crime is rampant right now. Yeah. You can't have it both ways. If they made the world wonderful and peaceful where there was no crime, then they can make that argument. But that's never going to happen. This is a fallen world, and there's a lot of crime out there and bad people. We have a right to protect ourselves, especially in these cities that have very high crime right now, where the government is not protecting you. I don't know why they think that they can sell that to the American people, how they're going to help you when they're defunding the police. How can they tell you we're going to protect you and then turn around and defund the police at the same time? They're sending very mixed signals and messages because I think they're very lost and their heads are up their butts and they don't know what they're doing because they react to everything and it's always political.
Like this incident
There's no thought behind
in Highland Park at the 4th of July mass shooting. He pulled this Antifa leftist who looks like he's transgender or transitioning.
He does.
Doesn't he? He does seem like, look at his mugshot. But if he pulled that in Florida, there'd be 10 guys at the parade that have concealed weapon permits and they could shoot back. It wouldn't. And if
he wouldn't pull that in Florida. In fact, our daughter was watching the news with us, and it got her very upset. Very rightfully so. And she said, "It makes me kind of afraid to do things." And Brian said to her, "Well, luckily you live in Florida where people carry guns, and nobody would dare do something like this because." They probably look at that church in Texas where the guy started shooting and one of the congregants got up and killed him because he had a gun on his side. That's how it is here. And I said, this is why people need to carry guns and have the ability to carry guns. Otherwise, you are a sitting duck. Mm-hmm. And when people carry guns and you're in a state or an area that has those laws, then it's less likely to happen. And I told Emily, I said, all these shootings happen. Now, Uvalde did happen in Texas, but that was a whole, the police screwed that up. And I told her that. I said, the reason that guy got away with that is the cops really screwed that up. It was their fault that they didn't take this kid down. But I said, most of these things happen in soft targets, areas where there's a lot of gun restriction and this and that, because these people know that there's not going to be people in a crowd carrying guns and that can shoot back.
Now,
it's a deterrent when people can protect themselves.
The shooter in Highland Park in Illinois, we're getting some more information now. He had 2 AR-15s. Yeah. And there's some new reporting that has come out. There is a great conservative news website you guys should check out. It's out of Canada. It's called thepostmillennial.com. Thepostmillennial.com.
That is a good website.
Yeah, it's out of Canada, but they got all the news going on in America.
That was Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a lot of Canadian news in there. It's interesting, but they have all the American news too, and I go there for I found it during the Freedom Truckers in Canada and all of that, and it's a very good news outlet. But anyway, we're getting some new information on how this lunatic was able to buy these guns. Now, you heard the story that he had 2 run-ins with the police at his home. One was a suicide risk, and then there was another one. He was threatening to kill his entire family. Yeah. And the police took a bunch of knives, a dagger, and a sword. And in Illinois, you have to have a special permit to buy guns. And so he threatened to kill his entire family. Police confiscated all those weapons, right? The swords, the knives, and all that, the dagger. 3 months later, and the parents didn't, the family didn't press any charges, so there's no arrest. Incredible. So he has no arrest record. Listen to this. This is in the Post-Millennial. 3 months after that incident, the threatening to kill the whole family, 3 months after that incident, the suspect was able to get a firearm owner's identification card, which is what you need to buy guns in Illinois. And he was sponsored by his father. Yep. And he was under the age of 21. The subject was under 21 years of age. The application was sponsored by his father.
5 times.
Yeah. Therefore, at the time of the application review, in January 2020, there was an insufficient basis to establish a clear and present danger to deny the application. He cleared the background checks and was able. So, there's family responsibility here. If you've got a child, even if they're a young adult like 18, and they're threatening to kill the entire family, they have tattoos on their face. Yep. They're hanging out with Antifa and all of these things.
There's plenty of signs. What's going on.
You don't sponsor them to be able to get buy a gun and get an application to buy a gun and all this. In fact, the father has a lot of liability here. I don't think that always parents should have liability with what their children do. Certainly adult children.
Okay, let me ask you
this. But this guy, no one knew because he lived with the dad. No one knew more than the father. Yeah. About the problems that his son had, and he went out and sponsored him so he could get this license and pass the background checks that enabled him to go out and buy on his own rifles without even the father's supervision.
Well, they
Father's an
arrested
idiot.
those one parents where that kid Ethan was 15.
Yeah.
They arrested those parents. And I think sometimes these parents should be held accountable. Let me ask you though, if you go and buy somebody a gun and they go and commit murder, you're not responsible for
Not
if
necessarily.
you legally buy the gun.
Well,
So I don't know how that would hold up.
no.
But I think the parents definitely need to answer for some of this.
Here's the thing. I don't know what the laws are in Illinois. They seem to have very strict laws, but here in the state of Florida, and I don't know if this is a federal law, but I know in the state of Florida, there's a law against straw purchases. Like, I can't buy a gun for someone else, okay? It's just like you can't – there's also a law against straw purchases.
So we have that law here.
Yeah.
Well,
and
they must have it there then.
They have very strict laws in Illinois. So, I was at a gun store once, and there was a guy buying a gun with someone, and I thought it was a straw purchase. And I even talked to the guy at the gun counter. This was, I don't know, about 15 years ago. There was an older man with a younger guy, and it looked to me they didn't seem related, and it looked like he was like when I was a kid in high school, and we were going to buy beer. There were some places that would sell beer to you in Fort Lauderdale if you had.
The Cage.
If you just had a car and you could drive, you could buy beer. But sometimes I'd be out with my friends. And we would pay like a homeless guy. We'd give a homeless guy money. He'd go in and buy us a case of beer, and we'd give him beer and give him some money.
But if you go out and drink and go kill somebody in your car, he's not
of course, yeah, because he bought the beer for us. If they could find,
but only because you're underage.
That's correct. So if you're involved with what I believe with this father is a cover-up, his son is deranged. He knows he's deranged.
Clearly. If you just read the things he said, he's clearly lost touch with reality.
And he went, and the father went some extra steps that enabled him before he was 21 years of age to purchase these guns. The father's got he's got a lot of responsibility here, I would think.
He has a lot of explaining to do. Because I would like to know, why did he do that? Why did he do that?
Because he's an idiot.
No, I think there's more to it than that. Why did he sponsor his son knowing he had lost touch with reality?
You can make no sense of that.
And threaten the family. What was his motivation?
There's no way to make sense of that.
And I don't know what the laws are with this, but I feel that these parents, some of them, bear a huge responsibility for what's going on in their kids' lives and for enabling this kind of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and another thing too, with what this father did, which to me is criminal, what he did.
Yeah,
totally criminal. But here's another thing that he did. Okay, that I'm curious about, that I don't know that he did, but I suspect. This kid had 2 AR-15s. These are not cheap, and he has not worked in years. Did the father buy these guns too? Did he pay for these guns? Did he give him the money for these guns?
Because I don't think this kid. I'm guessing, but I don't know.
Listen.
Somebody said he made money off some rap video on YouTube.
I don't know. Maybe he did. He made YouTube. He made money off YouTube to buy the guns. That's possible. But this, I haven't heard that. This father, I wouldn't be so sure of that. I don't know how many views he had on his YouTube video before the incident. He probably got.
How much your AR-15s, like 1,500?
It depends on which one they are, and I don't know the details of what he had and how much they are. But he has not worked in years, and he only had a couple of videos on his YouTube channel, and I doubt they had enough views to generate the kind of income to buy those weapons. I'm sure he got a lot of views when his name was released before they took everything offline, but no.
Well, they're not going to do anything to the father because they want to blame Trump.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. See what happens if you notice in Uvalde, which was, all of these massacres are god-awful, but you look at these massacres, the Parkland, the Uvalde, what do they do after? They don't do very much. The media, they don't even cover Uvalde because they want to make it so much about going after the guns to have a political issue that they ignore what really happened. Police incompetence is responsible for Uvalde.
And Parkland. Those are both preventable.
In Parkland too. In Highland Park, this massacre was done through a lot of incompetence. And now we're learning the father and police, because police, when he was threatening to kill the whole family, if they would have arrested him, he wouldn't have been able to pass the background check to get the weapons. He had a clean record because of that. Even on the suicide attempt, the red flag law didn't work because he wasn't put in the system.
I mean, what's the point of these laws that the liberals want so badly if they're not enforced anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of them?
Well,
you have all these cities with strict gun laws, red flag laws, all these things they've wanted to be put in place. They don't work because they don't utilize them. They're incompetent.
That's right. And this kid's father, you're probably not going to see too much of him because now that this is out, he's probably flipped out, okay? And like I say, you wouldn't hold Tim McVeigh's family responsible for what he did. But if you found out that Tim McVeigh's dad set up a system for him to buy all that fertilizer, you'd say, well, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Well, exactly. I mean, so at what point are they considered an accessory? I mean, if you have Tim McVeigh, and that's a good example, and you have somebody that went and bought the fertilizer for him and rented the U-Haul truck.
Yeah. You're an accomplice.
I would consider them an accomplice.
Yeah. Now,
so why is this father not considered? He might not have been in on the planning of this, but he's helping and aiding him. He may be. This is. Now there's one other thing I want to mention about this. Okay, I think everyone's seen this just terribly tragic story of the little boy who's now an orphan. His two parents were killed. It's awful.
The father and the mother were shot by this animal. The
protecting him, they were over him.
Well, yeah, that's what I was. That's the point I was going to make. The father in particular was shot shielding the little boy from the bullets, and all this talk from Roe v. Wade that's going on. The natural instinct of a parent is not to put their life ahead of their child. Right. Is to put the child's life ahead of their life as the parent. Right. And those two parents that died, the father and very much in particular, shielding the little boy from the bullets. That's what a parent is supposed to do. That's the natural instinct of a parent. And all these Roe v. Wade advocates that are just going nuts, that what they're advocating for, is against human nature. And that's a prime example of what is the natural instinct for a human parent to do. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be our final segment. Lots to talk about. We've just scratched the surface. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Are your pants falling down? There is a solution. Skinny Clip. Available on Amazon and skinnyclip.com. Belts are bulky, uncomfortable, and expensive. Skinny Clip replaces the belt. Skinny Clip is an easy-to-use waistband tightener for men and women. It can easily work to tighten a belt on pants that are too loose. Skinny Clip tightens your pants without a belt. Maybe you lost some weight and you don't want to buy a new wardrobe. Maybe someone gave you clothes that you love, but they're a little too big. Skinny Clip can make them fit just right. Skinny Clip is a newly patented invention that holds up oversized pants easily and comfortably. It's easy to use too. Simply slide your waistband, twist, and hook. That's it. It works great on all types of fabric, skirts, slacks, jeans, and shorts. It's perfect for blue jeans that loosen up during the day. It's affordable and available in multiple colors. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Skinny Clip, when you're skinny for yourself. Skinny Clip is available on Amazon. Just search Skinny Clip or visit the website skinnyclip.com. If you're into video games and love to watch gamers live stream, or maybe you're a live streamer yourself, you need to check out Stake on W54 on Twitch. This gamer is building a community of friendly game enthusiasts, and he wants you to join him while he goes live and plays awesome games. Games like MMORPG, which takes place in a mythical fantasy realm divided into kingdoms, regions, and cities. Watch as he slays monsters, trades, and crafts in the vast and open world. You can also watch as he plays teamfight tactics. This is a basic survival game where players compete building teams to see who is the last man standing. Check out the stream right now. Twitch.tv/StakeOnW54. That's Twitch.tv/StakeOnW54. From professional jockey and author Olivier Deleuze comes the book, The Perfect Athlete, available on Amazon. The author's 33 years of riding horses and winning over 1,400 races around the world. He knows that nutrition is the key to his success. He's put his decades of nutrition experience in this must-read book for all athletes at every level, whether you're a beginning cyclist, a hobbyist marathon runner, or a prize-winning racer. What you eat not only fuels you, but defines your athletic performance. When you read The Perfect Athlete, you will learn the foundations of sports nutrition. Learn what professional athletes eat to maintain their physique and change the way you think about food. Eat better and be the best. Order your copy of The Perfect Athlete from professional jockey and author Olivier Deleuze on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, and audiobook. Brian Craig here with a huge announcement from the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the My Pillow, Mike Lindell. And My Pillow are now offering a BOGO extravaganza on multiple My Pillow items. Right now at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane at checkout. Buy one, get free pricing on My Pillow bed sheets, Giza Elegance My Pillows, the 6-piece My Pillow towel set, and the My Pillow Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows, and so much more. Just go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. Use the promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout or call toll free 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. And on our 1,300th Brian Craig Show podcast episode, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support. Thank you so much, guys. Your support does help us a lot, and your support is greatly appreciated. All Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode, and our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air shout-out thank you on every episode. So the names you hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, and Wesley. These are our top Patreon supporters. And if you would like to support the show by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every single episode. Now, Kathy was just showing me
This is amazing.
a video that Eric Trump just tweeted out a little while ago.
You'll have to retruth it. I retruthed it.
Oh, it's on Truth? You retruthed
on
it?
Truth Social on my profile, which is Florida Mermaid, but Brian will retruth it too.
Yeah, and I'll have it on my Truth Social. And what
It's
it
incredible.
is Trump Force One is back. You know, the big famous plane that we have not seen since before Trump was elected has gone through a complete remodel and refit. And Eric Trump released this dramatic video of the painting, the repainting of Trump Force One. It looks better than ever. It's got
beautiful.
a major upgrade.
It is beautiful. This is like the most gorgeous plane I've ever seen.
I hope he flies it to Alaska.
Well, it tells me that I don't know if it's going to be quite ready, but it tells me that he's refitting it and getting it all ready for another campaign.
No, I saw about a year ago, I saw some video of the plane, and a lot of it had been taken apart. They were working on it. And
no, I know, but I think he was thinking about rerunning even back then.
The last thing you would do would be to paint it when you're doing all the work. So if they have painted it, it's probably ready for like its test flights, with the new engines and everything that are on it. And I hope to see him flying around into rallies like that. That's the plane we like to see him. Well, we want to see him on Air Force One again.
Yes.
But Trump Force One is pretty good.
Gorgeous.
And I'm very excited because, here at the southern headquarters of the home of President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, when President Trump was in office for his first term, those of you guys that follow me on YouTube and social media over the years, I used to go to the airport by Mar-a-Lago, the West Palm Beach International Airport.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see Air Force One. And now I'm going to go up there to see Trump Force One. When President Trump's plane is here in South Florida, the Trump Force One, I'm going to go down there and
definitely vlog
and
that.
show it to you guys.
Absolutely. This plane, it's gorgeous. The whole top is it's like a shiny, shiny black. And then it's got his letters in like shimmery gold. He loves gold.
It looks a little different than before.
I like it. It's very sleek and sexy. It's got a good look. And then he's got the American flag on the back wing. Looks like it's, flowing in the wind. And I think he's getting this. I think that Trump decided on the inauguration, possibly before, when you saw him in front of Mar-a-Lago smiling and waving, I think he saw all those people. And I think I'm guessing that's the moment when he said, I'm going to run again.
Yeah.
I can't let these people down. And I think he's fitting this plane and putting all this money into this for another campaign. And he's going to come back better than ever. And this plane's gorgeous. You got to look at it on Truth. I'll Brian retruth it. Eric Trump. It's beautiful.
The private plane that he's been flying around in, it's white. And I've seen people in the press make fun of it because it's smaller than the Trump Force One.
Wait till they see this.
First of all, President Trump's smaller plane, the white plane, Corey Lewandowski wrote about that plane in his book, Let Trump Be Trump. And that plane, the small plane, is why he was able to do 4 and 5 rallies a day. The smaller plane that President Trump owns is the fastest plane that a civilian can own.
And let's just think about it.
So how much does that cost? And it's his.
And not only that, he has 2 planes.
Yeah.
He has 2. Yeah. How many people have 2 planes? Unless obviously
private planes.
Unless you're the president,
not very many. Yeah, but the president doesn't own. He owns his own.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He has 2 that he owns.
I mean, look at Bill Clinton. I love how they make fun of President Trump's smaller private jet. That's the fastest private jet that you can own. Here you got Bill Clinton hitching rides with Jeffrey Epstein on his jet.
I know.
And that doesn't seem to bother them.
It's just incredible.
Now, I want to play this. This is Joe Biden. I guess they gave him a few Red Bulls. He woke up a little bit. And
is he screaming and yelling?
He's out there talking.
And raving?
Yeah, listen to this.
You all remember what the economy was like when I was elected, a country in a pandemic with no real plans how to get out of it?
Well, first off, the pandemic was over. And all the solutions were in place from President Trump. So he's in fantasy land, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Millions of people out of their jobs.
Okay. Now, people were out of their jobs because the economy was shut down because of the pandemic. It's not like there was some crisis that President Trump was responsible for that caused people to get laid off, like the Depression. And a lot of those jobs were shut down by governors just to stick it to Trump and
they
keep
closed the businesses.
Exactly.
They closed them down. I mean, how can you work when the businesses are closed?
Exactly.
You all remember what the economy was like when I was elected, a country in a pandemic with no real plans how to get out of it. Millions of people out of their jobs. Families in cars, remember, backed up for literally miles, waiting for a box of food to be put in their trunk. Just a box of food to be put in their trunk because they didn't have enough to eat. Previous administration lost more jobs in its watch than any administration since Herbert Hoover. That's a fact. All based on failed trickle-down economics that benefit the wealthiest Americans.
Give me a break.
Now trickle-down economics, which is, Bush 41's phrase, that's capitalism, right? Mm-hmm. I got $1. I go and spend it at a store. It's trickled down to the store. The store owner trickles it down to his employees. The employees go out and spend it. That's what it's called, capitalism, trickle-down economics.
Middle class are working people the hardest. We came in with a fundamentally different economic vision, an economy that grows from the bottom up and the middle out. It's good for everyone because when the middle class does well, the poor of a ladder up and the wealthy still do very well.
I don't know what he's talking. He is in.
He's got the audience
denial
behind him, nodding and yesing him. And give me a break. These people. First, he blamed Russia. Now for the gas prices. Now he's blaming the gas station owners, and they're furious with him. He never takes responsibility. The reason the job numbers tanked was because the government, like you said, shut all the businesses down. I mean, remember all those people, those gym owners in Jersey, all those people fighting to open their businesses, all those restaurants in New York that were closed for a year that went out of business. How many jobs did that entail? You know how many restaurants are in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Thousands.
Yeah.
How many employees? Hundreds of thousands, probably. Waiters, cooks, dishwashers. Put out of business, not to mention every other business in Manhattan alone was astronomical. And all these other, Los Angeles, the government shut those businesses down. The governors, Cuomo. Trump shut everything down for about a month, and then he opened everything back up and left it to the governors. Cuomo, Newsom, Whitmer, all liberal governors closed businesses, forced people to close only if you were essential, what they deemed essential. And that is why the job numbers went down. So everybody knows that, but his stupid audience will sit there and nod. He has like maybe 100 people there, they'll nod and yes and this and that because I'm sure they're paid to do that.
Yeah, they're the 35% that approve of his job.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I want to mention one last thing before we go. The NEA, the National Education Association, they're having their annual meeting right now in Chicago. And they're talking about new things that they're supporting.
Yeah.
The NEA, they are rejecting the words mother and father.
Oh, my goodness.
Not to be used. No more mother and father.
Destroying the family even more.
Wait,
what's the NEA?
National. This is it's the largest teachers union, the National Education Association.
So, what do you want to say instead of mother and father now?
They don't have an alternative that they've released, but they don't want mother and father.
They
it's
are really
gender
destroying
specific.
These children. They're destroying these kids.
This is absolutely amazing. That after all of the negative blowback from these school board meetings and libs and TikTok, they're still doubling down. And the NEA, if memory serves, is the largest labor union in the country, which means they got a lot of juice with the Democrats.
That's who Elon Musk said is running the government.
Yeah,
the unions.
when Elon Musk said that the unions are running the country, running the Democrats, it seemed to be a bit of a stretch to me because you think that the unions have lost their juice. But that's not the case. Different unions have juice.
The federal unions.
Well, this isn't a federal union, but it's school teachers.
The government unions.
There's three major unions, but two with the most power. The NEA is the number one because they are nationwide. They're very large, and they have not just a lot of pull with the members of Congress, but school boards, city councils, county government, and governors.
Absolutely.
And in Florida, when Jeb Bush was running for governor the first time, or the second time, when he was running for re-election, the NEA mortgaged their own building here in Florida to raise money for the Democrat running against Jeb Bush. I mean, the NEA is a very influential group. The second most influential are the Federal Workers Union, which is also a very large union. They have a lot of influence over the Democrat Party.
Well, we know there's not many unions left that are factory related.
No.
Most of the unions around now are government employees.
Yeah. Well, teachers are government employees.
Right. So they have a lot of influence.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really amazing. And taking mother and father out, I mean, what a wreck that union is.
I feel so bad.
That's just stupid.
For these kids. And I can't help but think that because all this is so nuts, I can't help but think this is all part of some big, they talked about the liberal, the what did the guy call it the other day? The world order.
Yeah.
What they want to do
the new
is
liberal world order.
Destroy every type of foundation we have to this country. Just destroy everything that we hold dear, the fabrics of our society. They want to rip them apart, and the traditions and things like that on all levels.
Yeah.
And I've really seen them over the last few years go after the young school children. You really are seeing some major activism that I've never seen like this before going on over the last 5 years.
It's completely insane.
And the reason is because they want to mold these young minds. They have a captive audience, especially the elementary school teachers. And let me tell you why. The elementary school teachers are extremely important in this movement because they have those kids for 6 hours a day. And those kids, their elementary school teacher is like another mommy to them. You know what I mean? They're not with their mother. They want a mommy. They're like 8, 9 years old. And their teacher is somebody they really look up to as a parental figure. They lead them around and they talk to them like they're, little, and they're very caring and nurturing, more so than you see in middle school or high school. But they really, at that level, look up to the teacher, and you'll see kids learning things in school that make no sense. I promise you, and going home and arguing with their parents. Well, no, Mrs. Johnson said that, there's no two genders and this and that, and they're really working on brainwashing and destroying everything because they want to rebuild it in their image. That's why they're doing this. They want to destroy capitalism and bring in socialism and eventually communism. Now, they want to destroy the family. They want to destroy men and women's roles. I mean, they're really destroying everything and blurring all these lines.
Now, don't forget that the Brian Craig Show podcast, we are available on all podcast platforms, including iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're even on Audible. If there's a podcast platform, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on it. So whatever platform you use for your podcast, search the Brian Craig Show. Also, if you don't already, check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Search Brian Craig on YouTube. I live stream every morning for 3 hours while I'm on the radio. If you miss a part of the radio show, you can catch it on my YouTube channel. We also upload the podcast on my YouTube channel, and I do a lot of vlogging. And I also do, from time to time, exclusive vlogs that are for the members and also for Patreon supporters that I do through my YouTube channel. But if you don't already do that, and don't forget, I know I talked about this. I'll talk about it more later in the week. But starting Monday is the big expansion of the Steve Kane Radio Show with me, of course. Our primary radio stations we're on 2 FMs and an AM radio station right now, and we have been for quite some time. AM 1470, 95.3, and 96.9 FM. Starting on Monday, we are adding 3 new FM radio stations carrying the Steve Kane Show. We are on the air from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. And these new radio stations that are picking us up, they're 3 FM radio stations cover. It's really, we're going to quadruple our number of listeners to the Steve Kane Radio Show.
I'm excited because
it's absolutely amazing.
You've been broadcasting in Broward and Palm Beach since I've known you for 30 years, mainly Broward County, but also Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be going into 3 new counties that you've really never been you've been online and stuff. You have a national audience, but locally on the radio, you're going to be in 3 new counties in Florida. And you guys are going to be broadcasting across the most populated, dense part of Florida. And you're going to be covering like a quarter of the state now, which is incredible to me.
I know, it's crazy.
Population-wise, maybe even half, because the majority of the population is in the southeast quadrant of Florida, from like Martin County down through Miami-Dade. And those are all the counties plus Indian River that you're going to be covering, and even west. So
and the areas,
it is incredible.
The areas we are moving into,
population-wise, it's huge.
Yeah, on these 3 new radio stations are the most conservative MAGA parts of Florida. And it's absolutely amazing. It includes Stewart, Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, if you look it up on a map. And that is
Jupiter,
like the most MAGA part of Florida, and that's where we're going to be broadcasting from or into starting on Monday. And this is really huge.
You've already started to see some new people in your chat and some new callers. And starting next week, and when they really start promoting it, you're going to start getting a lot of new callers, new people in the chat on YouTube. It's very exciting, and I'm excited for you guys. Truly, I can't wait.
And I know it's absolutely amazing. I've been you guys know I've been in radio a long time, and this is like I'm moving to a new level now, and it's really amazing. We'll talk more about this as things get closer and go on. But Steve Kane and I have been a 2-man band for over 20 years together.
Yeah, that's right.
And now we have an entire team of people that are working on the program with us. And let me tell you, They just want us.
Incredible.
They want us to do the same show we've always been doing. So
that's amazing. They haven't even asked you to change your
nothing.
Nothing.
No,
be yourself. Just be yourself.
Yeah. Nothing so far as content or topic. They just want us to do what it is we do, and that is unheard of in this industry. And I'm really excited about it. It's really amazing. Radio is. Let me tell you, it's a tough business. People all the time ask me, how do I get in radio? First thing I tell them is don't do it. It's not easy. And
I would imagine it's a lot like Hollywood. Very few people make it. How many people in the business have you seen that are not in the business anymore that have fallen to the wayside, moved on to other things?
Most everybody.
I mean,
it's most everybody. And I'm really excited about this because what Steve Kane and I we're going to have with this expansion, we are going to have in the state of Florida probably what will be the largest conservative audience, and doing a morning drive show on 5 FM radio stations. It's a big deal for me personally. I don't know how much of a big deal it is to you guys in the listening audience, but it's a big deal to me. It's funny that I was talking to someone today when I got off the air, a radio friend of mine. We were talking about things, and we were talking about different people. And I remember one of these guys that hired me at one of my first jobs. he told me that, Brian, if you ever want to make it on the air, you have to start smoking 2 packs a day. This guy smoked. He says it'll change your voice. It'll make your voice deeper, because you'll damage your throat, of course, with the cigarette. Now he has since died of
lung cancer.
He was a nice guy too, a very good broadcaster, and had one of the best voices I've ever heard. And never smoked a cigarette, but I remember that was like on my first day. And now here I'm about to embark on Monday of launching the largest conservative MAGA radio talk show
under the
in the
greatest
state of Florida.
governor in the greatest state.
Right.
You have all these new people that have moved here.
That's right.
All these new conservatives and people that loved it. It is a great time for this
my
move.
Goodness. And I know some of
Trump's getting ready to run again. It's exciting.
There are people in this listening audience that have been with me since I started on the air.
Including me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there are people out there that I still hear from that are listeners that remember like the first time they heard me on the air, like in 1990,
That's
1991.
Incredible. I didn't start listening till about 95.
Yeah. And this is really super exciting.
But my mom listened to you from the beginning. From when she'd been listening to FTL for many, many years. That's how I heard about you, because my mom's like, you got to listen to this guy. So, I mean, you are a staple here in South Florida, you and Steve. And now it's really nice to know that people are going to hear you. Even more people in Florida and across the nation are going to hear. It's amazing how many people watch you, how the channel and on YouTube and how the show has really grown, and how you get calls from Canada and Australia and the UK and across the country.
It's amazing.
From California, New York, and it really is amazing.
It is. And I appreciate all of you out there. Yeah. And even though there's a major expansion going on with the program, you're not going to notice any difference in me or Steve Kane.
I'll make sure of that.
Or the podcast here. Believe me.
Brian's a humble guy.
That's right. You know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what this is. I've been doing this my entire adult life.
Literally.
So a lot of times what happens to people, you see this a lot on YouTube and with podcasters.
Yeah.
People become like somewhat famous
very quickly,
and they change and they get weird. I'm not saying that I'm famous, but I've been a public figure since I was 18 or 19 years old.
Yeah.
So any time during my broadcasting career where I take another step and go to another level, I'm always the same because I don't know any other way, because I've always been a public person.
Well, and a lot of those people get famous very quickly, and
it goes to their head.
It goes to their head, and they don't appreciate it, and then they burn fast and fizzle out too.
Yeah, I
Brian's
appreciate
in it for
everything.
the long haul.
That's right,
and he does appreciate it. And honestly, I can say, because I've known you 26 years now, we've been married 25 years, and I can honestly tell you guys, I think you've grown more humble.
Yeah,
as you, because you were a little cocky when you were younger and so very sarcastic. You have grown more humble. You're more appreciative, and that comes with maturing with age. I'm that way too. When you get older, you start to be more grateful for things if you grow up. And I've noticed that you're definitely more humble and patient and appreciative. Of all the blessings you've had in your career, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. It's very exciting. So I'm glad you guys are with us, though.
Absolutely.
And I'm very excited.
I appreciate all of you.
I'm a little, if you noticed this week on the radio show, we did it, the radio station, they very smartly did this in 2 phases, because if with the format change, if you've been listening to me on the radio this week, we're making a big deal about taking the breaks on time. That's because we're networking with other radio stations.
Exactly.
And
it's really important to be on that clock.
And the reason we have to be on time is different radio stations play different commercials at the same time.
Exactly.
So Steve and I, for many years, have just been doing whatever we wanted to do and taking the breaks whenever we felt like it. So
but
we
now you have to be on a clock. In sync with all the other stations.
With the other exactly.
Because they're going to play ads, like you said, that for that county,
some of
that area.
It's
like they do on TV.
It's like being a syndicated show is what it is here in Florida. So a commercial that's playing on my home base radio station may not be playing on the station that's got us on in Fort Pierce. They may be running a different commercial.
Right.
So that's why
exactly.
That's why the time of the breaks is so important. And I got to tell you, I think this week taking the breaks on this schedule has made the radio show better and faster paced,
and smoother,
and it has been flying by for me every day. And
I agree with you. I think it's better. I really do. I think having it on a schedule is not only better, but it's more dependable. It's
now,
like,
now
this is when this is happening, and it's.
When I say nothing's changing, I mean, like, for example, I'm no longer running the commercials. I have a board app now, a producer that's
got to be so weird
does it
for you,
and
because you've done that forever.
Well, when it's time to go to commercial, I keep going over to play a commercial, and there's nothing there to play.
Exactly.
But one thing, though, that I will continue to do, no matter what, is take the call screenless on the air, and our the team that's working with us, I explained to them, I say it makes it so much more interesting.
Yes.
Not knowing, and when you have a call screener, the person that calls in gets off their chest what they want to say, and when I take them live on the air, they haven't gone through that process. So, and they agree with me. They said, absolutely, the unpredictability of it makes it much more interesting. So we are going to continue to do the screenless calls, even though we have a whole team of people to do that now. They're not doing that. I'm still answering the calls like I always did. So anyway, guys, I am very, very excited, and I'm
very excited for you too.
Oh, man.
So is our daughter. I mean, it's like, it's an exciting thing because we've been with you the whole time, and the listeners too. Like you said, some of you
our radio station, our main radio station, we even have our own van now.
I mean, it's incredible.
I know, it's exciting. We got a van at the radio station.
It is exciting. Now. It is exciting. I'm very happy for you.
I know.
It's fun to watch all these things happen for you and Steve and the show, because you guys deserve it. You really do. And you're out there helping Trump and spreading news and trying to inform everybody, and you get up at an ungodly hour of 3:00 in the morning every day. Even on the weekends, Brian gets up about 5:00 in the morning. That's sleeping in for him, working. He's up.
That's true.
Reading stories, watching the news. Honestly, you do live streams on the morning. I don't know anybody that works 7 days a week.
I'm going to continue to do my live streams on the weekend, by the way. Just one last thing.
Brian's very dedicated.
I didn't live stream this past weekend because Saturday was Kathy's birthday. And
That's true.
And I didn't want to live stream in the morning. I wanted to be with Kathy when she woke up to give her present.
In fact, he woke me up at 6:30.
Yeah,
I was in a dead sleep, and he came in and woke me up with my birthday present, which was very nice.
Because I wanted to be the first one. Your phone will start ringing. Our daughter will come in. I wanted to be the first one.
And he got me an Apple Watch, which I really,
that's nice.
The new Apple Watch, I absolutely love.
That's nice. So anyway, guys, I'll be back live streaming on the weekend this weekend too. Anyway, enough about me, but I do appreciate it all, guys.
What do you think about me?
That's right. That's right.
Put it in the comments.
That's correct. Tell me what you think about me. No, I'm very excited.
We're excited for you.
I've worked so hard for and I was talking. There's one more last thing. I was talking to.
He's on a roll, guys.
I was talking to the owner of the radio station.
He seems very.
And
nice.
I told him. I said, I feel like I've just been discovered after all these years. Like, wow,
it only took 30 years.
It's better late than never.
That's true.
I don't. And they said to me, well, we're gonna make up for all that time we weren't together. And I said, listen, I don't worry about the past. It's all about the future.
Exactly.
And this is exciting. We're coming into the midterm election. Then we got the presidential election.
It's a very
with Trump.
exciting time. Yeah,
That's
Trump's
right.
going to announce this year, and we have the elections.
That's what the plane's about.
Up.
The plane is about the campaign.
That's right.
All right, listen, guys, we're all out of time, but we'll talk next time. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Romani gypsies have been a part of Great Britain for hundreds of years. They even have famous relatives like Lady Diana and Sir Winston Churchill. The book from author Lenny Harvey, Romani Gypsies, available on Amazon, is an absorbing book that tells the true stories, bittersweet and sometimes funny, of these intriguing people. The author's grandparents were Romani gypsies, and this book shares author Lenny Harvey's childhood and family. He tells the stories that don't always romanticize the Romani gypsy story. Instead, readers will get a true-to-life depiction of what life was really like for these fascinating people. Not all Romani gypsies lived in wagons, but more often houses, preferring a permanent base where they couldn't be told to move on. Available in Kindle and paperback, Romani Gypsies is a perfect book for book clubs. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Romani Gypsies, from author Lenny Harvey.